Hello, one and all. Welcome to this brand new idea I'm bringing you guys here on the Marauders Guild. This is Logan, and I'm also joined by
Logan.
You got two Logans.
I'm Logan.
It's
two Logans. That's double trouble right there.
It's Logan squared. You're gonna be kind of confused, but just know we're gonna keep it to two Logans. We're not gonna bring in three. We're not gonna give you the pointing meme of Spider-Man. We're only gonna keep it as simple as possible. But
it might get confusing if we ever bring on guests.
It might, because they're going to be referring to different Logans. But we're going to worry about that when we cross that bridge. But first, I want to introduce you guys to what's happening. This is going to be Protocol 13, the new podcast here on the Marauders Guild. If you remember, we did one way back called the MGPC. Consider this like a reboot, a relaunch of that podcast. And today we're going to be covering a plethora of stuff when it comes to Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023. There was a just huge amount of things from the convention, and we're going to be covering as much as we possibly can today, talking about the shows, talking about the new movies. Logan's going to be talking about the figures because that's his forte when it comes to this stuff. And then we're also going to be just looking at a bunch of stuff coming to the future as well. Can't forget about Jedi Fallen Order, or Jedi Survivor, as well. So it's going to be a really great discussion. We don't know how long it's going to last, but we're going to talk until we just literally can't talk anymore.
So, it sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot to talk about. So as we'll try to keep it brief, but also there's a lot of stuff that we want to talk about. So I feel like it'd be really good.
And we're big Star Wars fans, as people listening to this probably are as well. So, like I said, we're gonna just go until we just can't go anymore. So let's just dive right into it. Let's get into the meat of it. I want to first cover the shows that we got. We want to start with the biggest news concerning, I think, a fan favorite show, that being The Bad Batch. Season 3 has been announced, will be coming in 2024 as expected. But also, I think what people probably weren't expecting is this season will turn out to be the last season. So it's now the shortest animated show of that style. We can't forget, I think Resistance was 2 seasons. But we'll say the shortest animated show of this style at 3. So it's going to be kind of shocking to ask you. We've obviously seen seasons 1 and 2. We saw the journey that the Bad Batch have gone through, whether it be together or separately with Crosshair. So, let's just start with kind of a wrap up, especially with the season finale. We lost our dear boy Tech, but the Bad Batch is when have we ever followed orders? That
is an amazing quote. It really got me too. Like I didn't expect it, but I also expected it. It's Dave Filoni, so someone had to go. He's not going to let us be happy. Yeah.
And it hurts because you saw Tech. Tech was the one who was really building relationships. We saw him with Fee. Of course, he was building the relationship with Omega this season. So to see him willing to throw his life on the line. And really, he was the MVP of this season. If we think back to the extreme pod racing episode where he stepped in and saved the day there. Tech had a really great season, and it's bittersweet knowing that that's how it came to an end, but it's also confirming knowing it wasn't a wasted death. It was something
of course
that really tugged our heartstrings, because I feel like everybody got emotional. But
if you didn't, you're falling way too far into the dark side, because that is it tugged on my heartstrings. Like, that's bad. Like, it was really, really good.
It kind of, like, truth, I don't think I've felt like that's for Death since Kanan in season 4.
Yeah.
Don't think I felt it like that.
I think, like, when I saw the setup, I instantly started thinking about the whole entire season as a whole. Like, even like the last season before, and the 4 episodes of the Bad Batch we got in the Clone Wars in season 7, and it was kind of like a life flashing before my eyes moment with Tech, just all the good Tech moments. And I mainly thought about the episode in season 2 where they get trapped in the mines trying to check out the mines that Sid bought. And he really, that I feel like that's his episode where he really grows into the paternal figure that all the Bad Batch have to be for Omega. That's when he really got close to Omega. That's when he, really really realized how to care for Omega, and that you can't always be the smart,
cynical one.
The cynical
Yeah.
one. Exactly. Like, especially after thinking about that moment, it hit me hard.
I think that's why. I think that's why watching the Bad Batch in particular is one of the things I love about it is all these clones. They're essentially just stereotypes. Hunter's
Mhm.
is the hunter. He's the Rambo face paint, and Wrecker's supposed to be the big
Exactly.
clumbering idiot, and Crosshair's supposed to be the cold and calculating one, and Tech's supposed to be that cynical one who's only by the numbers. So I feel like what
Mhm.
makes this show that more interesting is you're starting to see them break free of all the stereotypes they were given. You're seeing Hunter act more like a father. You're seeing
Mhm.
Wrecker get more in tune with his emotions when it comes to everybody else. You're seeing Crosshair even now on the Imperial side of stuff. I feel like one thing that can't go remiss is the episode when he was with the clone trooper on that snow planet.
Yes.
In that moment, Crosshair realizes, like, even though I'm on a higher level per se, now that this new empire has risen, all of us, if you're a clone, we're all on the same level as them, no
And
matter
I
what
think
type of clone you are.
I think what I like so much about the Bad Batch is that it obviously it follows the clones in a kind of like retirement sort of what they do after their war is over, but it also kind of gives us a different point of view of the clones from a galactic standpoint of, like, so many people think of the clones as just droids, as these like
Yeah.
droid like figures that, all they do is fight, that's it. And I find it really interesting watching the clones interact with that standpoint that the galaxy has on them. And I feel like
Yeah,
that
because
Crosshair episode showed it so well. And it might honestly be it's up there in the top 10 Star Wars episodes for me. It was really good.
it was understandable because, like, when you look at that, when you really look at the season, like especially what's happened with Senator Tucci and how she's trying to give the clones their representation, it's something that you
Mhm.
don't think about when you really think the whole scope of the Clone Wars. I feel like even for people in Galaxy, people out of Galaxy too, we think about the clones and we only think about the Clone Wars. And then outside of the Clone Wars, we only think about, when Rex and Gregor and company were fighting alongside the rebellion. We don't think
Mhm.
about the clones outside of what it is to be a soldier. We got like a few bits of it here and there, like obviously with the Cutler Quay episodes way back in Clone Wars. We see what it can be like for a clone when they're not fighting, but even then we still saw Cutler Quay fighting. So we never see them outside of the battlefield truly. We never get to see like what galactic life is going to be like for a clone trooper. And now they're really being faced with it, because now we're at a point where, and you really don't think about it when you think about the Empire transition. I mean, you glance, your mind says, yeah, they have to get rid of them,
Yeah.
but you don't really put your whole mind into it until you are really coming to grips with the fact that, yes, the Empire is switching over from clones to stormtroopers.
Mhm.
But what do you do with the millions of clone troopers that are still in the Imperial ranks? You don't just, when you drop them, where do they go? What do you do
Exactly.
with them? And I feel like that's also what's terrifying. So with the doctor, I can't, his name is not coming to me. Hemlock, Dr. Hemlock. I feel
Yes.
like and let me tell you something. When he came in season 3, let me just say this before I really finish this up. I feel like he's up there with being Thrawn level dangerous when it comes to villains in across the shows.
He very well
There's
could be.
there's something
He
about
he
Hemlock.
has he has a very Thrawn-like cold and calculating manner to him. It's just his way of speaking. Like, he doesn't freak out like last episode of Bad Batch. When Hunter and Wrecker are inevitably captured, or they're about to get captured before they trade off with Omega eventually. They have a very he's Hunter could have very well just shot him right then and there, and he could have been scared for his life, but he did not show it at all. He
because
was
he
he was
knew.
so calm in his speaking. Exactly,
Yeah,
he knew. He
he knew it
knew.
wasn't gonna happen. That's why I'm really excited. I'm kind of bummed that he only got like a handful of episodes this season because I'm like, this guy is going to be named. But like I'm pretty certain he's going to be the main antagonist in season 3. But this guy is way so because like not to knock oh God, why can't I remember his name now? Why can't I remember his name? The guy who was in charge of everything beforehand. Rampart. Not to knock Admiral Rampart.
Rampart, yeah.
Yeah. Not to knock Admiral Rampart, but Rampart didn't feel like he was like what's the word? He felt like more like your typical Imperial officer that you know is gonna fail.
Exactly.
Like he didn't feel over encumbering. He didn't feel like he had a presence. Like, for instance, when you look at Tarkin, like Tarkin has that presence. When you look at Director Krennic in the short time we knew him, you got that presence from Krennic. You got the presence that he
had the small cameo there.
Yeah. Like you can tell he's somebody that people should fear. That he can be something serious. And I feel like the thing that was missing from Rampart is he didn't have that key quality that made him be this top tier villain potential. He didn't have that key quality.
He was more the I feel like he was more the I don't want to call him the hand, but if he wanted things to get done. Yeah, he's the guy that
with him as the fall guy. So it's not wrong to say he's the hand. Because like I said, when you look at when he was arrested, because when he got arrested, I would say we saw that Palpatine, as Palpatine has plans upon plans. So if something went wrong, he twisted that. And that's when I saw that moment, dude. I tell you, I lost my mind because I was just like, you cannot get over how cunning Palpatine is. This gets exposed, and Palpatine still had a way to twist it to say we still cannot trust clone troopers because they follow these. Yeah, like yes, we have some corrupt commanders and admirals in our navy. That might be true, but what you cannot deny is that clones still follow these orders.
Exactly. That was I didn't see that coming from a mile away. I just want to thank whichever writer thought of that. Whichever I don't. It was an amazing twist that I didn't.
Blew my mind.
I never knew I needed.
This is being truthful.
To that moment alone just makes the Emperor that much more scary for me.
It's the thing of where
it's insane.
Like, what more does Palpatine really have? It makes you think. What has he fully planned? What part of this plan is like, or it makes you wonder, was that a backup plan, or did he always know that was going to happen? Because it just seemed too perfect, or too prepped that he just had that ready. So it just makes you wonder, like, how deep does Palpatine's plan go? Also, it makes you wonder, what exactly is he planning? Because we can kind of leeway this into what we've seen in Mandalorian, as we know of the cloning things he was trying to do there. We know that Hemlock is a part of this in some way, and Hemlock has a lot invested in this, because if it doesn't work, it seems like, he's out of whatever project he's a part of. And I think it's safe to assume it continued to a degree. Did it continue with Hemlock? Probably not. But we know it's cloning. We know he needed the Kaminoans. He needed Nala Se in particular. That's why he went out and got Omega. So it's going to be interesting to see how this particular cloning story is being told across 2 different shows, as it looks up. Because like I said, we're getting some of it in Mandalorian, and we got a little bit touched on in season 3 with the episode with the officer, Dr. Pershing. We got a little bit, and we'll talk about that later. But it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, as we talk about Bad Batch season 3, we talk about it being the last season. What do you expect? Do you think we're gonna see The end. Do you I think the first question is, do you think we'll see the end of the Bad Batch truly? Like, we know the show is ending, but will the team itself, will they ultimately also end?
So here's my thing. I love all of the arcs they've all gone through, and especially Crosshair going from public enemy number one, seemingly like nobody, not even fans, were on his side, and then now he's kind of reeled back and kind of become more human again. So I everybody's sympathetic towards him. I honestly don't think a lot of people are gonna make it out of season 3. Like, I think it's gonna, and I think Hunter's safe. Hunter and Omega are safe,
I think Wrecker's gone.
but
Yeah.
Wrecker gone, Crosshair gone,
Yeah.
Echo gone. I think I think it's going to be a very, very sad ending for the batch. And another thing, I just really want more stories. At least one more story or a couple more stories in the next season with that little rogue group of clones that Rex and Echo have found themselves leading. That every single time they were on screen, even for like, 5 seconds at a time, they took the attention. It was cool, and I can expect us to see, because we already saw Rex and Gregor there. I can expect Wolf to join them.
Well, we know that, but that's been
I
confirmed. So Wolf is joining them for season 3.
Thank God. I can maybe. Did they confirm anything about Cody coming back for season 3?
So that's the thing. We haven't confirmed anything about Cody, and that's what's and I wanted to touch on that too, because that's what's been very interesting to me, because it feels like the Cody element, I feel like it's being done on purpose. The Cody element of all these stories seems to be like the most wanted thing for us. And it was so big when we saw Cody in that trailer, and we saw him in an Imperial armor as well. And now we know that he defected, which kind of, it bummed me out to see that happen off screen. That was like one of the few letdowns I had this season, was knowing that Cody left, but that was it. Like, you didn't really know how he left, or like it was just like set off screen, like Cody left kind of deal. So it begs the question of, like, they have to be building to something, that always when you feel that way, you feel like they have to be building to something, because it's just too big of a story opportunity to just leave Cody out. And like I said, we've talked before, but well before season 2 dropped, that we expected Cody to be fully Imperial, and maybe he was assisting and hunting down the rogue clones. And we were looking to see Cody and Rex
faded and rumored Cody Rex fight that everybody was talking about, and it didn't happen, and it won't happen.
It's not happening. But now we might get to see Cody and Rex fighting side by side, which I feel like, to a degree, I kind of want to see more than seeing them fight each other. I want to see them fighting alongside each other one last time, because I feel like it's the best way to put it is, look back at the episode in Rebels where you basically saw Rex had PTSD. When him and Kanan went to that old droid factory.
And they had to.
Where the old droids were.
They had to go through the old Jedi clone fighting stances with Kanan and Ezra. Yes.
And then he had that moment where he was getting up, and he thought he was still on the battlefield. So I feel like a moment like that, Rex went through so much when he was in the Clone Wars. Again, that's like one of those things you don't really think about with clones, is we don't humanize them enough to understand that yes, they're clones, but they can go through the same psychological issues as a person. Just because they're a clone does not mean they still don't have those psychological issues. I think that part of it is because they're clones of Jango Fett, and you think of Jango Fett being this hard individual who has gone through so much. But they weren't raised by Jango Fett. They're not like Boba, where they were raised by Jango. They were raised in war. So it's the fact of, it's still going to get to them. So I feel like, knowing that Rex went through so much, you want to see him get those little miracles, per se, of being able to fight alongside Cody one last time, and being able to, help. Because I feel like it's safe to say Cody didn't make it. Because I feel like if he did, he would have been with Rex and Gregor and a bunch in Rebels. So it's definitely safe to say Cody did not make it at this point. If he did join up with him, that's the key. So I feel like he has to. Obviously, things could change, and Cody could decide he doesn't want to fight at all, and maybe he pulls a Cut LaQuay and goes off somewhere. So it's really up to see. As you can imagine, Cody. But moving on to Andor. Can't talk too much about it because I actually have not finished it yet.
All right.
Don't hate me. But But I'm in the middle of it. Don't worry, I'm still watching it.
It's just a really long show. It's definitely a full attention show. You can't watch it while playing on your phone. You can't put it on in the background while writing your script. It is a full attention show, which I love about it.
That's why it's taking me a second. Yeah, I do love it. Don't get me wrong. That's why it's taking me a while because I got to be in that perfect space. But we do know season 2 is coming. Which is very exciting. I had a panel there at Celebration where they got to talk about the show. We're not going to get into too much because I don't want to spoil it. But just know Andor season 2 is coming. But we also could talk about Star Wars Acolyte. Also got some big reveals. We know the cast, who people are playing. We know that Jonas Samato, I think that's how you say his name. He's playing a Wookiee Jedi. Very excited for
Wookiee
him.
Jedi.
We're getting a live action.
Also, he revealed on his Instagram that it also might be a Grand Master.
That's awesome.
Wookiee Jedi.
So that's
or at least some type of master. So that's gonna be really cool.
That's gonna be so. I'm happy for him, and then we know Daphne King is also playing a Jedi. If you don't know Daphne King, you will know if you saw Logan. But she played X-23. She did a phenomenal job at that. It's hard to believe that's been almost. I think we're just shy of 10 years since that movie came out. It's 2023. It came out 2017. We're 4 years away from 10. So it's crazy to think that movie has been out that for a while. She had a stellar performance in that. And she's been in a few stuff here and now. I think she was on a show on HBO Max not too long ago.
I believe so.
So she's been staying quite kind of active. But to see her joining the Star Wars universe is great. But we also got, some footage. We didn't get to see it officially. It was more con exclusive. That was kind of a bummer. I was hoping to see at least a teaser for Acolyte. But we do know, as we have kind of heard, that it's more of a thriller than anything else. They really were pushing that this is a thriller type show for Star Wars. So it's going to be interesting to see them take that new theme with it. We've seen scary stuff in Star Wars. Of course, we think about the virus episodes from the Clone Wars.
Yes.
We think about Death Troopers from the old Legends continuity. Like we've seen some scary.
The episode of Mandalorian with Bill Burr in it. The first one where Mando is an absolute menace. Yeah.
So we know they can get pretty scary, but we need to. But it's gonna be interesting to see it when that's just the genre itself. Like when it's just supposed to be a thriller. So it's going to be interesting. Got a great cast by the look of it. And it looks like the cast all love being a part of. So that's one thing that when you see good chemistry outside of the set, there's some great chemistry when the cameras are rolling.
Which,
so it's
side note,
to see more about
I believe it was Daphne Keane that showed up in a Padme cosplay, I believe, maybe.
No, it was. I know you're talking. It was one or the other. It wasn't Daphne. I know you're talking about. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. I saw that. I saw that picture. She showed up in full.
That was amazing.
I was yes,
that was amazing. Like that alone just lets me know that it's in good hands. Like I wish.
Let me get. I gotta get her name because I can't go past this without saying who that was because I want to give that woman all the joy in the world. Because seeing, like I said, seeing people show up in cosplay. Amazing, but when you see the stars of the show you're watching show up in cosplay, it just makes it that better. So just to know that she's, a Star Wars fan like us, and probably walked the convention floors in her Padme costume before anybody realized it was her. I can't get her name. It's okay. But Acolyte.
I have a list of the cast pulled up, but Amanda Stenberg maybe. See, Google says
that might be her. No, I found it. It's it's Amanda Stenberg. It's Amanda.
It is
Amanda Stenberg.
Amanda Stenberg. Yes.
Yeah.
Her Padme cosplay.
Yeah, that's her.
Amazing. It was perfect.
Also, I just went to her Instagram, and when she first got announced as being Acolyte in July of last year, she posted a picture of her posing with R2D2 wearing a Darth Maul style football jersey.
That is amazing. I love when Star Wars fans get to be in Star Wars projects. That is it is amazing.
But yeah, I think it's awesome. But we also got to talk a little bit about Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew didn't have too big of a presence at Celebration this year.
Jude
but
Law came out.
We did find out a few things.
That's about it.
We did I was hoping to see a trailer. I was kind of a little shocked that we didn't get that. Apparently there was one or at least some footage shown. Obviously we didn't get to see that. But they revealed the directors for episodes of the show. So I'm gonna go through them here. Of course, we got John Watts. He's the show lead. And then we got David Lowery. Don't know too much about his, but we also have the Daniels, who of course direct Everything Everywhere All at Once. They're doing an episode. Then we have Jake Schreier. I've seen his name.
I've seen
Not
his
too
name,
sure where he comes from. Yeah. And of course, we got one of the best directors they bring in for doing Star Wars, Bryce Dallas Howard. She has been phenomenal at creating Star Wars. And then we have Lee Isaac Chung as well. So I'm just gonna do a quick Google search.
Jake Schreier, thank you Google, is doing the Thunderbolts movie for hopping into Marvel.
Oh,
so
okay,
that's definitely interesting.
That's where I saw that. So that's right. So I just looked up David Lowery. He did things. Oh, he's doing Peter Pan and Wendy.
So Disney kind of pulling from their little pool of directors that they work with anyway. That's.
It looks, and one thing I'm noticing is it looks like a lot of these directors are like people who've done or doing things that are like family based and mythical elements of like. Yeah, and it makes sense because as we said, we know that the plot of Skeleton Crew is, these kids that are lost throughout the galaxy and Jello's characters trying to like direct them home or some degree of that. So that kind of makes sense. Let me look up Lee Isaac Chung here and kind of see.
My question, since there is kids that may or may not need parental figures, are they going to double cast Pedro Pascal in this to be a parental figure? Because he's getting a lot of the roles like that, and maybe.
He's just
everybody's daddy.
He is everybody's daddy. But I don't know, man. Maybe not. We'll see. But that is the news that we got on Skeleton Crew. Very interesting. But the biggest thing we got to talk about, the talk of Star Wars Celebration, if you ask me, when it comes to the shows, Ahsoka Tano. Of course. Her show, Star Wars Ahsoka. We got the teaser trailer. There's so much to look at when we talk about that teaser trailer. We got to talk about Inquisitors. We got to talk about Harrison Dula.
Yes.
We got to talk about Sabine Wren. And more importantly, we got to talk about the greatest villain in the history of Star Wars, Thrawn.
He's back.
Thrawn has returned. And the biggest news is none other than Lars Mikkelsen playing him live action, just as he voiced him in the animation. I feel like there's the perfect casting, and I talked to some people who didn't really watch Rebels, and they were like, "Oh, that's kind of a good casting." And I'm like, if you watch Rebels and you know this is something we've been wanting for ages, is to see Lars Mikkelsen play this man live action. And now that we are finally getting it, it's just, you can't put it into words how exciting it is to see Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn in live action.
So let me just say, I've had the absolute honor to actually have a small conversation with Timothy Zahn at a Comic-Con, and in that conversation, after I wore off my starstruckness, I asked him who he would want to play Thrawn, because it's a loaded question. A lot of people throw around Benedict Cumberbatch. There's a lot of people wanted Lars Mikkelsen, and he was in that boat of people that wanted Lars Mikkelsen to play Thrawn in live action. Not only the strongest of facial features for Thrawn, does Lars Mikkelsen have, but the voice, the
diction
cold, calculating
that he
nature,
has.
the diction, it's so hard to replicate.
Because
And
like on that,
Go
one
for
of
it.
the things I've learned reading the Thrawn novels as well is Thrawn. He's an alien. We know this. He's Chiss, and Galactic Basic
Mhm.
is not his first language. So one of the things that you really have to that you don't I didn't really notice until reading that novel and then really getting information is like, oh, so Galactic Basic is not his first language. So you should be able to still catch a hint of his accent, of him being used to speaking all these other languages when he was still a part of the Chiss Ascendancy, like I think one language called like Bisasti or something like that, like all these other languages. And one of the things I will never forget that OGs will remember is they did Rebels recap after every new episode, and one of the things, and this was when, if you remember, his bodyguard Rook came onto the came into the scene.
Yes.
And Dave Filoni, I think it was Dave Filoni, made a note that the way Lars Mikkelsen said it was just like no one else could say it like he said it. And I feel like that's because no one else could have voiced
It's so
Thrawn
throaty.
like him. So when it came to playing Thrawn, I was like, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, but I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch would have been only for the name, like not for the character. It's too good. It's just too good to not cast Lars. So to see him get to play him again is it's very awesome. Awesome indeed. And then, not to be remiss, but we're also going to marry Elizabeth Winstead as Harrison Dula. And
Perfect casting.
Can we just say, I love the casting, but also I want to take this opportunity. I had a video that dropped earlier today that we're recording this. Obviously, this is not dropping the same day, but the earlier day there's a video that dropped, and it was a video about Harrison Dula, and I want people to give Hera her flowers, because I want people to understand how much that woman has gone through, and how strong she is, how much she has pushed through in her career. When you talk about her and the rebellion and the Republic, like I want to give people a rundown of this. This woman was born on the Ryloth, so she was born in conflict, basically. Her father is Cham Syndulla, who fights more than he even says her name. She saw her mother die. She left her father, joined a greater rebellion, fell in love with a Jedi. They started a rebel cell. They had a Lasat. They had a Mandalorian join them. Then they had another kid who turned out to be a Jedi to join them. She's juggling all these huge personalities at the same time. She's still helping to fight the Empire. Then you want to talk about when they join, this woman is the first person to fly a B-wing. This woman has flown against TIE defenders. This woman had a rivalry with Grand Admiral Thrawn. She was in Thrawn's face and still kept her cool. She was captured by Thrawn and Governor Price and still did not break to their torture when they were trying to get information out of her. She is flown in the Battle of Scarif. She flew in the Battle of Hoth, if I'm not mistaken. She was there. She was there for the Battle of Endor. We know she helped the New Republic when they transitioned. So it's the fact that Harrison Dula has been through, if not pretty much every major conflict that we have seen when it came to Galactic Civil War. She was there.
Oh, yeah.
And she contributed a huge degree. So it's the fact of when you talk about everybody who was in the rebellion, and I mean everybody, grand scope. You want to talk about Luke, Leia, Han, Lando, Mothma, Akbar, all these people, include all these major names, General Nadine, everybody. Harrison Dula, for me, is probably the most decorated person to fight in the rebellion. And I will stamp my word on that.
I would heavily agree with that. She's done, if not in the worst way to say, it's probably a bad way to say this, but she's done probably too much for someone of her caliber. Because all this, she had multiple children, because she is definitely a maternal figure for Sabine and Ezra. She had her own kid with Jason Syndulla. It's
the fact of
it is insane
she juggled
amount.
all that while still being a general for the rebellion. She had to be front line, and she's still fighting. I want people to understand, Hera Syndulla, that's why I believe this fully. When she gets brought into this show, it's not just, it's not just for me. It's not just, oh, Hera's making a live action jump, so she's gonna be important. She's gonna be important because look at her rap sheet. No one can say they have been through the events that Hera Syndulla. Every time, like, even if you look at like Luke, Han, Leia, I feel like they each have one battle they missed. But pretty much Hera was there for all of them. They weren't as scared if Hera was there.
Exactly.
And all of that, like, one thing I can remember is she's had interactions with all these characters. What I'm saying, she was captured by Dr. Aphra at one point. So it's like, she's been across the entire galaxy. She's seen all these people, and she's had confrontations. And she's come out ahead. So it's the fact of this woman has been through so much, and the very key thing. This is why I'm like, you can't bring back Thrawn, because I just touched on it a second, without bringing in Hera. Because those two, the rivalry they had, was so crucial. Because as I mentioned, their first face-to-face encounter was on Ryloth when she was pretending to be a servant so she can get the killer key back, the one, that Fairly heirloom. And Thrawn, they had that confrontation, and from then on, it was like they were dueling each other. So if there's anybody in the New Republic who's going to know how to handle Grand Admiral Thrawn and know how serious
it's her, the
threat is going to be, it's going to be Hera Syndulla. So that's why I'm so excited that she is coming back in this live action role with Mary Liz Winstead playing her. That's great, but I feel like it's great that we have a great casting. But I don't want people to forget how big. Don't make the casting bigger than this character.
Exactly.
Me, Hera is one of the most important people when you talk about this particular era of storytelling. And I feel like that goes under the rug for a lot of people. They don't really think about how critical she has been to the rebellion and to the New Republic, for that matter. Keep in mind, we've seen her in the Star Wars Squadron. She was leading them there. Like, her hand is in a lot of places.
She was the first person to ever take command of a Starhawk.
So
that is intense.
This woman has been through so much. And like I said, it's not only that, but like, while still being a mother. So it's crucially important. But one of the things, let's talk about one of the things for Ahsoka that we can't be remiss in possibly seeing, because we have so many people coming. Have Ezra. Do we get Ezra?
I feel it. I feel he does. I feel if anything, if he doesn't, they save it. They save it for the one more future project. But I feel like he needs to show. He needs to show up. The search for Ezra has gone on for far too long. Dave Filoni has kept this on his back burner, and been torturing us with it. And I feel like they need to from a fan standpoint, and also just a story standpoint. You know, they're gonna need him. They're gonna need Ezra. Like, Ahsoka is powerful, but like there are talks of Ezra being as powerful as Luke, even. Like, maybe not as powerful, but he's second.
Yeah.
And that's an impressive feat. And to fight Thrawn, they're gonna need him just for the fact that he's a Jedi, and he comes up with these plans that can't really be countered, like how we saw in the season finale or series finale of Rebels. And another thing is, I feel where you find Thrawn, you're gonna find Ezra. They're gonna be near each other. So I feel like maybe Thrawn has been torturing Ezra this entire time, and Ezra's gonna come back a way more grim and dark character. He's not gonna be joking around like we saw him in Rebels, you know. I hope not.
And I hope not. But I want to drop one thing though that kind of made me think. Is this a hint? So it was in The Mandalorian. It was in one of the first episodes when Grogu and Mando were in the N1, and they were traveling through hyperspace, and Mando was, I'm assuming, asleep while Grogu was sitting in his lap.
Yeah.
And You saw Grogu was mesmerizing at the hyperspace lanes around him. But can't be remiss. We saw Purgle. Purgle were in those hyperspace lanes.
I don't know if that was just an Easter egg or if that was put there to remind us that Ezra is still gone and needs to be found. It's
because this is my thing. That's very interesting, right? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Thrawn and this thing. So we know Thrawn is an extremely calculating individual. He's smart and he knows how to use things to his advantage. Even if you manage to defeat him, he can take what he learned in defeat and turn it into something later on.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I feel like people should consider is what if Thrawn, after what Ezra did with the Purgle, sees the Purgle as a means of hyperspace travel and uses them.
He very well could. Thrawn's smart enough for that.
What if wherever they ended up, those Purgle that were with Thrawn, he took them and he trained them, or he did something, he broke them, or just went somewhere and got Purgle because he understands that. Because here's the thing: hyperspace travel in Star Wars is, I feel like, what can't be forgotten is how tricky it really is. Because you have to get the timing just right. I mean, we see so many people do it with ease because they're good pilots. If you're not a good pilot, hyperspace travel is terrifying.
Yeah, you might as well take a cruise liner instead.
Exactly. Like we see hyperspace travel and we think like, oh, it's just simple as going and boom, the ship jumps. But you got to realize every time we see somebody going, like I just said, it's either you're seeing military with highly equipped, highly advanced machinery, or you're seeing pilots who have flown for years and it's just like going to hyperspace is commonplace for them. That's the only time you really see hyperspace travel. You don't see it from rookie pilots. You don't see it from people who've never been to space before. Like that, is not something common. So when Thrawn was, trying to rebuild, he wouldn't have the means to hyperspace travel because if I'm not mistaken, his destroyer was damaged in the battle with the Purgle.
Yeah.
So he would not have the perfect means to hyperspace travel. So if he wanted to travel from location to location, he would probably have to use Purgle. Maybe in doing so, he figured out a way to control them.
And it wouldn't be the first time in Thrawn's history as a character that he's broken an animal or used animals to his advantage. Because calling back to the main Thrawn trilogy, the Legends Thrawn trilogy, he used I'm gonna butcher the name. Ysalamir to create a bubble of force retention, so no force users could use the force against him or his troopers. So it wouldn't be the first time in the character's history that he's used these beings for his own
Exactly.
moving upness. I guess I can't think of the word.
Before we move on and talk about some of the next stuff we're going to talk about, as we know in the chapter before the last one, we know that somebody sprung Moff Gideon from Republic custody and they left Beskar. And one of the things I thought about was like, what if Thrawn did that and left the Beskar on purpose to throw the scent off of him again? Because keep in mind, Thrawn has Beskar somewhere because he gave the magistrate a pure Beskar staff. If you have,
that is true.
And keep in mind, the Imperials kept batches of it. It's very possible that on whatever destroyer Thrawn was still on, he had the deposit of Beskar on his destroyer, and is able to refine it. And it's like I said, it's very interesting for me when I saw that Beskar because I feel like everybody immediately jumped to, oh, it's something Mandalorian, but we cannot forget Thrawn has it too. The Empire had it, which means Thrawn has it. And we know that Thrawn has it because, like I said, he gave the magistrate a staff of pure Beskar. And if he has enough to give it to people. If you don't have enough, you save it. But he has enough to give it to people and give it to them as a weapon. Not as just like a charm or just like a batch of it. He gave it to her as a weapon, which means he has enough to possibly do more with it.
I
So and for me, it just feels sloppy. Like if Mandalorian, why would Mandalorian have a piece of Beskar fall off? You know?
I think back to the episode in Rebels where they use the machine that Sabine created that targets the Beskar alloy uh, on the
Exactly.
Mandalorians, and that's what I think of. So I think back to that. Even though Thrawn was heavily against it, I wouldn't doubt that he may have reaped the benefits and taken the armor that fell. You know, there's still a small chance that could have
Exactly.
happened. So
Because like I said, that's us. That's just the thing I want to note there. But we talked about Ahsoka, we talked about all this, but one thing that we do know about the Mandalorian, about Ahsoka, and all the stories, Book of Boba Fett, is being told here, is that it is getting turned into a movie.
yes.
And with that, and we're also getting some other movies as well. Not just that alone. We're getting some other films as well. It's an incredibly exciting time as Star Wars gets to return to film. I'm gonna put something in our chat, guys. For those watching or listening, rather, depending on what you're doing, we are in a little chat here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send something in the chat so he can have a visualization. I'm gonna look for it here while we talk about it. But we want to start off with the fact that let's talk about Dave Filoni, what he's doing. He is going to be busy, and I talked with someone else about it. I feel like this is probably the reason Bad Batch is ending so early, because it's Dave Filoni's about to be a busy man.
Yeah, if Dave
And
Filoni wasn't already a busy man, he's about to get a lot busier.
yes,
Mainly like Dave Filoni is to thank for building so much of the galaxy as we already know, but we also have to thank him for thinking towards the future as well. And he is definitely thinking towards the future in a big way with making Star Wars an event again, you know?
and I feel like it's very in game-ish when you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
to have all these stories being told and knowing they're going to culminate in one big thing. You have the story that's being told, and it's a thing of like it's just like we just have now. Like it's not done. You know, we have 3 seasons of Mandalorian. We got the first season of Book of Boba Fett. I think we know season 2 is coming at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We have Ahsoka coming up. There's still shows that are coming down the line that could very well continue to play into the narrative as we get closer and closer to whenever this film could come out. And that's what's insane. And when you sit down now and you look at the story we have so far, and the story that we will be being told, like we know Thrawn is coming back, and we know that he's the heir to the Empire again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Mandalorians with Bo-Katan, and she's rebuilding. So right now it seems like the big culmination is this confrontation between the New Republic, a rebuilt Mandalore, and Thrawn's burgeoning empire. And that's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
That's pretty cool. There's really no other way to put it.
Finally feeling seen, you know? As a man with a rechargeable lightsaber, the chance of seeing it on screen is going to feel so good. But also, it's just super interesting to just see the very very beginning, the spark, the big bang. Yes, I'm like, so excited for it.
So cool, and he's talked about it just a little bit, and it's been described that it's going to be sort of like a biblical epic, which you could expect because Star Wars, the Jedi are religion.
Mm-hmm.
So he says it's gonna be more like a biblical epic, but like for me, it's just so cool because like I said, we've seen Logan, we know James Mangold's style. He can get gritty, but he can be very true to the story of something, and I feel like it's kind of cool to see him get to end the story of Logan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to start the story of the Jedi.
That's is kind of oddly cool poetic. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's so cool. That's like he gets to end the journey of this iconic character,
which he also
gets to start the journey of this iconic.
He's speaking of other iconic characters and him dealing with it. He's also the director of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yes, which is so cool. So
So yeah,
it's awesome to see that he might be becoming a Lucasfilm favorite.
this is once again
So
Disney pulling from their little bowl of directors, pulling a name out of the hat and saying
Ooh,
you get a movie. Like that is
there you go, James.
insane. James is a lucky guy, let me tell you.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that. But we also got to talk about this other new era that it's a bit polarizing at the moment, but it's only really polarizing because of our what happened with, of course, the Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still excited for it because I am looking very much forward to seeing this play out. So we have the film that Daisy Ridley will be playing in. She will be returning as Rey, and the era, I don't know if the film's called this, but the era is called the New Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm extremely excited. Man, I'm extremely excited to see Rey come back, and the prospect that we might see Finn again.
Exactly.
Or, we might see these other Jedi that are sprouting up, or maybe we might see faces that survived. Because I feel like one of the things I would love to see is maybe Ahsoka is there, because I feel like it's a chance that she is still alive at this point. I don't really see anybody killing her per se. So it would be interesting to see if Ahsoka makes it that long. It'd be interesting to see if Ezra makes it that long. It's going to be very interesting to see who's there to help her rebuild this order. Is this like a soul task she is, or does she maybe go hunting for other Jedi that are still surviving throughout the galaxy? And more importantly, does she teach Broom Boy?
I was just about to say that. Bring Broom Boy back.
Does she teach Broom Boy how to be a Jedi?
It's 15 years in the future, so Broom Boy is a broom man. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
So
we need Broom Boy.
We need Broom Boy. I like. Not only is it a perfect time for Star Wars to be poetic as it likes to do, but I want Broom Boy back.
Broom Boy needs to be a Jedi.
Exactly.
Come on. If for those who don't know what we're referring to,
yes,
you've been living on a rock. In The Last Jedi, one of the last scenes in that movie, there was a child who was essentially a child slave, but I'm pretty sure Canto Bite doesn't want us using that word. But Canto Bitans, I guess you can say, used them to clean the stalls of the father years. And he was walking across the stalls one night, and he pulled a broom close to him, and that broom was not close enough for him to just grab it.
Yeah.
That broom levitated to him. So that boy used the force to grab that broom.
It was, and a whole bunch of other stuff happened in that movie, but more importantly, Broom Boy.
Broom Boy happened. And if Broom Boy is not a Jedi, by the time that film comes out, y'all missing an opportunity.
Broom Boy, a Star Wars story, it's a movie that the fans not only want, but we need. We deserve this movie. It's
gotta happen. It's got to happen.
But in all honesty, I think it's really interesting seeing this new Jedi Order. Like, it was already interesting seeing what happens after the good guys won in Return of the Jedi, which happy 40th anniversary, by the way. But I think it's always really cool seeing what happens after the good guys win. Do bad guys come back? Do they live happy for once? It's
like, it's interesting, especially with this one, because this one feels like with Rise of Skywalker, it kind of felt like that was like the finale. Like there can't possibly be any more evil out in the galaxy.
Exactly.
Like we just vanquished. We double vanquished Palpatine. We double vanquished his army. Like there can't possibly be any more. Like we got rid of Snoke and then that problem. So like there can't possibly be anybody who can teach the dark side anymore. So it's gonna be interesting to see who shows up. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think the Knights of Ren are dead, are they?
They're not. I don't think they are. At least.
So the Knights of Ren could still be out there somewhere. So it's very possible the Knights of Ren might have something to do.
Are they finally
in
gonna get
this.
their screen time? Like, I'll
Let
take
me
it.
just. We're gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up for you.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Did they?
Kylo killed them. Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, no, he did. He was fighting them
Yeah,
on
he fought them.
Exegol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So
Kylo
then we
did
go to
kill the
Plan
Knights of
B.
Ren.
Broom Boy's the villain. So listen.
Broom Boy is now
I have
evil.
a
So
50-page essay
Anakin
written
arc.
on this. Yes, Anakin arc. All right.
Anakin arc. He's basically the same thing. Slave boy, treated poorly, has the Force, gets trained wrong, becomes Darth Broom.
Darth Broom.
Darth Broomis. Gotta make it sound evil.
Darth
Becomes
Broomis.
Darth Broomis.
Yes.
and challenges Rey's new Jedi Order. Boom. We just wrote.
Like, I know Broom Boy has an actual name. I just don't remember.
I actually just looked it up. I was just looking at it like 2 seconds ago. Broom Boy's real name is
Tamiri
Blagg.
Yeah, I like Broom Boy.
That is a disgusting name.
Broom Boy. Broom Boy's
Tamiri's not bad. It's Blagg.
It's the Blagg.
It's Blagg.
It's always the last name.
Like,
it's always the last name that is weird.
Blagg.
Like, people will have like an
Tamiri
actual normal human sounding name in Star Wars, and then the last name just ruins it. You know, it.
They should have used the real boys. I just looked at the pictures. This guy, he's aging. He better be. He looks like he could be a Sith or a dark side user.
Wait, actually, what's
yes?
What's the actor's name?
His real name is actually very close. It's Tamerlane Believe.
Tamerlane Believe. He definitely is aging. Yeah.
He's aging, but he looks like he could play someone evil. What was it George wanted when he was casting Anakin? Someone who looks good, but they look like he could be evil at the same time?
Yeah.
Tamerlane is that person. I'm just saying. Tamerlane looks like he could be good, but also like he could be evil. I just realized in this picture, he kind of looks like Linus from Shark Boy. I'm getting off track.
Oh my god.
Okay. I'm getting off track.
You're right.
But
Mr. Electric, send him to the principal's office and have him expelled.
Can we get Linus in Star Wars too? Where's that actor?
Wow, that movie's. It's been a while since that movie too. They had a sequel that I didn't watch.
Yeah, I don't think anybody watched it. But we move on. But we also can't be remiss in discussing one more thing. The fact that the Old Republic is now officially considered an era of the Star Wars timeline. So people who are kind of like maybe on the fence of that was always the thing. It was never officially an era because people always know that the game is still running. But it was a thing of like they knew it wasn't canon. Now, does this mean the game is canon? Not yet. We still don't know what officially is canon when it comes to the Old Republic era. But the fact that it is considered a thing, we can kind of assume that at least some elements of what we know is still there. So I feel like we can say, maybe Bastille Shan is still there. Maybe Darth Revan exists. Because we know Darth Revan exists because of Rise of Skywalker, actually.
Exactly,
Darth Revan was an old Sith. He's a Sith. We don't know if his Jedi pass is still true. But we know his Sith pass is still true because they named a legion of Sith troopers after him.
Yeah, and he almost also showed up in Clone Wars during the Mortis arcs. Exactly.
So we know.
Yes.
So we know Revan is an old Sith Lord. But like I said, one of the things, but the gist of these stories we don't know. Like when we get to the meat of them, we don't know what is still true. Like we know Revan is a Sith Lord, like I mentioned, but we don't know if his Jedi pass was still true. We don't know if the love affair with Bastille is still there. But if Revan's there, we can assume that Darth Malak is canon. We can assume that characters like even Darth Malgus could be canon again. So it's going to be very interesting because like I said, basically you can kind of draw these lines now that we know the Republic is canon and we know that Darth Revan is canon. We know that for a fact Revan and the Old Republic existed. That timeline is somewhat there. So it's going to be interesting to see moving forward what stories they tell. If Revan would be in the center of those stories, I think it's going to be another interesting thing because I feel like we're all waiting for Keanu Reeves to play Darth Revan. So it's going to be interesting to see if something comes of that. or is that just they just kind of did? Because I doubt they would just do it. I don't think anybody even spoke about Old Republic being in the era. I don't
It's
think
never really
they.
been mentioned. That's
Yeah,
the thing. Everybody assumed that when High Republic got announced, Old Republic was kind of done. You know, like the
done.
idea
Yeah,
at least of it was done. But now seeing it's seeing it confirmed at least, like that is
there.
yeah.
So it's like it's gonna be it's interesting because I feel like now that is a thing, but like they didn't talk about it. You know, it wasn't like Old Republic is here.
Hmm.
You know, it is. They didn't really say Old Republic's canon. This is what we're gonna do in it. They kind of just flashed it up there with the other eras. But really just talked about the other two. So it's interesting to see as we move forward what will be put in that era. What characters will we still expect to see, or are going to see new characters, or is the story going to stay the same? Because honestly, most of that story could still stay the same.
It could. I would love to see some type of Old Republic film, or even like get the people that made the actual Star Wars: The Old Republic game, get them to make actual animation, like animated
That would be kind of
like an
sick.
animated
Like, could you
series.
imagine if they made those trailers into like series that look like those trailers?
Exactly. Like they could
That'd be
it
sick.
would get a lot of that would please the fans also. Like I know a lot of people
Yeah.
a lot of people are asking for stuff like that. So I think
So looks So this is going to be very interesting. But for right now, we've talked about all the movie and TV news that came out of Celebration.
mhm.
But we also want to talk about figures, collectibles.
Ooh,
I'm
buddy.
going to toss it to you because that is your forte. We got a lot of stuff, and I'm going to keep in mind. We're going to get my real reactions because I have not seen most of this stuff.
Yes.
So we're gonna be scrolling through them. If you guys want to look along at the same time, I will put a link to the article we're using to look at all the collectibles in the description. But Logan, you can take it away.
All
What
right.
are we starting with?
So Hasbro kind of still has a chokehold on action figures, at least Star Wars and Marvel for the most part. There's some places that make other action figures, but for the low end action figures, or at least good quality for what they are, Hasbro's going to be your best bet. One thing I've seen this year a lot of is there's a lot of exclusives, which is usually pretty good. Like when you think exclusives, you think Xbox exclusive, PlayStation exclusive, Nintendo exclusive. For figures, it's not a good sighting. So we'll go down the list. I'll talk about if it's a good exclusive, bad exclusive, if it's an exclusive, and we'll also get Logan's reactions to it. Starting off with the Black Series line, you get a Ahsoka's Clone Trooper electronic helmet. I'll also say
Fantastic.
I'll also say prices. Yeah. It looks amazing. Like the Black Series helmets already look really really good. And if I bet if Ezra was around to collect Black Series helmets, he would have them all because they look really good. But it's really cool. I imagine with pretty easy modifications, you could make your own trooper out of it. But it's just a really really good paint on that figure, and I think it's one of the first. It's one of few Phase 2 Trooper helmets that we actually get out of Hasbro, so it's pretty good. Next side point. Do you want me to go down with the pictures, or do you want me to go down with the actual wording list? It's up to
You
you.
can go down with the words because I can pull up the pictures on my computer.
Just making sure.
Still get my reactions.
So next up, Black Series, Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary, Jabba the Hutt and Salacious B. Crumb at a pretty high $90, like props and stuff too. It's a
because he has like the little
he has a little hookah tower. It's pretty cool, and especially just to have anything in the 6-inch scaling, it's pretty cool to stand on your desk or on a large you could take pictures of them like I do. You could do many things with this Jabba the Hutt and Salacious B. Crumb that you haven't been able to really do before. Next up, Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary Force Spirits. It's gonna be a 3-pack with the Force Spirits that we see at the end of Return of the Jedi. That being Anakin Skywalker, Yoda, and the old man Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So this is actually, I feel like this might be the first any like new action figure with Hayden Christensen, Anakin, and like forever.
Yeah, so that's actually. Oh, I'm glad you pointed that out. The most recent Anakin that we got was a archive figure, I believe. Maybe there was maybe like a Clone Wars figure, but it was just a remold of the old Anakin we got when for Revenge of the Sith. So it is really cool to actually get this Anakin for in lighter robes. They all have the blue, kind of Force spirit tint to them. It's all really interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
And they come.
Looks like it might illuminate if you hold it.
I could imagine putting this at a backdrop of the light, so you just kind of get the silhouettes. It seems pretty cool. They don't really come with lightsabers or anything like that, but that's because they are Force spirits. Yoda does seem that he comes with his cane though, so that's actually pretty cool. Cause
I love how Yoda still needed a cane when he was
they the Force is very forgiving in retirement. They think about you.
It's like you're dead, but
you
can still get the key.
This is gonna run you about $78, and it's also a Hasbro Pulse Shop Disney exclusive. So maybe watch out for a sale on Pulse on that one. Next up, Black Series Darth Vader Revenge of the Jedi. This one, it is classic, bringing back the old name for the Revenge of the Jedi. Before it went to return. Me personally, I as a big Darth Vader fan, I might get it, but also he kind of has this weird red like tint to him on the actual figure. I don't know if I like it, but if you're a person that wants to collect everything of Darth Vader, here's another one for your collection. If you just want a Darth Vader, that you don't have one yet, if you want to get into it, this would be your Darth Vader. But it
looks like that helmet is removable.
The helmet could actually be removable, because I know that wouldn't be the first time they're coming out with this isn't the only Vader in this wave too, so that would be interesting. That's gonna run you about $34 and a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. So next we come in with the first.
We just covered the whole.
Yeah, it's the whole Bad Batch. Mercenary gear. All of them Walmart exclusives. So it's gonna be a little shaky if you can get them. Actually, all of them except what seems like Omega. Omega is gonna be available everywhere, possibly. Well, probably Walmart, but also Amazon, Entertainment Earth, which is a good toy seller. But they all actually.
These figures do look really.
They are all really good. It's really cool to get them in non clone gear. They're season 7 gear that they actually got from Clone Wars, but also they come with a Clone Commando, which we've been getting Clone Commandos in a sort of GameStop exclusive gaming greats with Republic Commandos. So Boss, Sev, all of them. Yeah. But this is the first time we actually get a plain white Clone Commando, which is actually pretty cool. One thing I wish we could have gotten out of this wave, the Phase 3 troopers, the conscript. I would have loved to have one. The TK troopers. I would have loved to have one of those. But who says there's still, like we said earlier in the cast,
they have to be
there's a season 3, so we might be able to get it.
Yeah.
Next up, Star Wars: The Black Series Gaming Greats Darth Maul Old Master. This is going to be your Rebels Darth Maul. This is a steal for me, honestly. Like, this is gonna be like, I see it, I'm instantly picking it up. I don't care how much I actually have on me at the time.
It's a GameStop
exclusive, but GameStop is really good about stocking, and also, GameStop, they are going out of business, which is sad because GameStop is part of my childhood.
A second.
But also with that,
you can't drop that bomb on me.
oops. It's slowly but surely. They're doing the smart thing, and they're not only staying in video games, so they're coming out of whatever hole they were in. We were all very fearful, but they're leaning more towards collectibles and stuff like that. I bought a couple even T-shirts from GameStop, and they're really good with putting deals online. So I would keep an eye out for online deals. If you sign up for whatever rewards they have, you get $5 every month, I think. If you subscribe, you get $5, and it rolls over, so you can. That's easily like $10, $15. Save it for 5 months. That's a Black Series right there, because they all run you 25, and this one is also going to run you 25 at GameStop. But it's Rebels Darth Maul, so that's a pretty good steal. Next up on the list, we have a rare figure with Doc Ondar, which is he's featured at Galaxy's Edge, the Disney parks. He's also featured in the Galaxy's Edge VR game. Anything involving Galaxy's Edge, he's there.
Which just makes sense since he's a Shop Disney exclusive.
Yeah, he is a Shop Disney exclusive. He comes with a Sith holocron and a Jedi holocron, which is really interesting. And also, this is the first time we've actually gotten this kind of sculpt for this alien. The name of the alien is actually escaping me right now, but the Hammerheads, Ithorian. There you go. We don't get Ithorians, so this is our first actual Ithorian in Hasbro, and it is a very good sculpt, very good. Excited to see. Excited. It's a steal for me. Honestly, because I've had the chance to take the pilgrimage to Galaxy's Edge, and see this Doc Ondar live, and it's pretty cool. So next up, Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary, Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight. So this is gonna be his black suit. I mean, it's just a good Luke Skywalker figure, honestly. Like I can't really. I can't complain about it. It seems like through some press photos, the flaps on his suit might be able to actually fold down, which is interesting. There's not really a lot of figures that have super small clothing, things like that. And of course he comes with his lightsaber. And all. Like I said, it's going to be available everywhere at Entertainment Earth, Amazon. Next up, Darth Vader. This is a steal for Darth Vader fans. Any Star Wars fan, really, because you are able to remove his helmet and see the underneath the egg, as some fans might call him, and it just looks really, really good.
I like that you can actually, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of figures do still have. I'm noticing he has like, you can do the severed hand look, or you can take just the shell of the helmet
that's
off,
also something that got me. You can just take the shell off. The severed hand look, I mean, it's probably just as, like, it looks like it's going to be some type of like extra gauntlet piece that you put on. So it looks very interesting.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Next up, we have 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, Emperor's Royal Guard. This is a good figure. This is cool.
That helmet looks great. They even got the little blaster pistol, which I feel like people don't even.
Yeah,
really
they don't really use it often,
honor
so
guard
it's cool that they still include that. This is I would say most likely a remold, because I know a little bit ago they had a figure that was a honor guard for a Legends character. The character itself is escaping me. I know I have the figure somewhere too as well, and it's a good figure. The head moves a little wonky because that's just because the helmet's big. It seems like you can also take the robes off to reveal the armor underneath, which might honestly be an even cooler figure, but it's pretty cool. Next up, moving into Vintage Collection, which is They cost a little bit more, but they're also smaller figures. You have the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter for 130. It looks amazing. This is the first time getting an actual vintage collection N1, and also getting I believe a Mando.
The Mando comes with the Darksaber, a Beskar staff, the blaster
Yeah,
pistol,
it's
Grogu. More
it's a
importantly,
kind of loaded set. Oh, and I'm looking right now through some of my news things that it's already sold out on Amazon.
yeah, I'm looking at it now. It
Mhm.
says currently unavailable on Amazon. We don't know when or if this
So
item
they
will be
got to
back
it
in
quick.
stock.
It's gonna still be available on Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, all your other uh places you could probably get your action figures. Next up is gonna be a 4-pack Return of the Jedi. It's Jabba's Court Denizens. It's just a 4-pack of the different uh creatures and characters that we see around Jabba's palace. This is gonna go good with They came out with a playset of Jabba's palace that comes with the Jabba, a vintage collection, 3-inch scale Jabba and all that. So if you want to take pictures, if you want to pose them up to keep them on your shelf, kind of as if you were reenacting Return of the Jedi, you could keep them there. It comes with Ree-Yeez, Tosek, Velkin Taziri, and Tame Dren Garen. They are such background characters. I've never heard those names before. That's what makes it better.
What makes it
Yes.
better?
They all come with blasters. You know, one of them coming with 2 even. So yeah, always keep a blaster handy. Next up is going to be Book of Boba Fett, Black Chrysanthemum. We don't say the color. Oh, my
cut
bad.
the color off. We don't say the color
Chrysanthemum, just Chrysanthemum.
Just
He
Chrysanthemum.
comes with a normal blaster. His knucks are already on his knuckles, his electro knucks, but they do come with actual effects now for the shocking of it. So it's an overall good figure. It's definitely not just a Chewy figure, just remolded. So that was pretty cool. That will run you still 27 or 28 bucks, but it's going to be available in most places you could get toys. Next up, Moff Jerjerrod, that's a deep cut. That is a deep cut, and it's a good figure. For
I'm trying to remember, Moff. I know he was in Return to he was in the where was he? He was the one that Palpatine was talking to.
I believe
when
so.
Vader was talking to when he showed
And
up.
I know
right?
in writing he's a good character. I know he's a lot of people's favorite Imperial. I don't know too much about him, but overall, I mean, it's a good figure. He comes with a blaster. It's a good Imperial officer figure. So if you like to army build or just buy a lot, so you have like Imperial officers for pictures and stuff, you totally can. And since it's vintage collection, it's just the figure. It's 17, which isn't bad. But keep in mind it is still a smaller figure. And that's it. That's all the figures.
Your character. No, you're not gonna.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna take over this one because now we have Logan's favorite character. Not mine in particular. The Logan
pancake faced, smuggling,
everybody's favorite,
no
Celestian.
good, horrible pilot, Celestian.
we got a Star Wars vintage Nyan Num.
He comes with 2 blasters.
Look at him. Comes with the A280. Comes with a blaster pistol. Only thing he can't come with is Logan's heart because
I hate his laugh. I hate the fact that he got to fly the Falcon. I just hate him. I hate him so much. I also hate him in Battlefront 1. I hate him. That's it. That's all I'm gonna talk about him. Anyway.
I am going to.
I swear, I'm gonna listen to this back, and I'm gonna. Anyway, next up on our list, something that I was pretty excited to see, and it's everybody's favorite war criminal. It's an animatronic. It's an animatronic chopper. That is.
All you gotta say.
Mhm.
But what I will say was interesting is listed
That
as
yeah,
Ahsoka toy.
that is
Interesting that it's not
that is actually
listed as just Star Wars.
really cool. I didn't even notice that. But you can bring home the
Yeah.
7.5 inch tall animatronic. Comes with 40 sound and movement combos. It's basically a chopper version of the Lola droid. Yeah. And then last but not least, um, Monopoly Star Wars Returns with Return of the Jedi edition. It's an Amazon exclusive.
Ever said the box art
Yeah,
is beautiful.
it is. I am not really one for the floating heads, but this is amazing. It's really good.
This is a beautiful. The silhouettes of the figures as well. The ATST silhouettes, the speeder bikes, Jabba's cell bars,
Seems
in
like
his
Boardwalk
palace.
is the second Death Star. That's weird. And
Empire and the Emperor's throne room. That's
Wait,
that's a little weird.
what's go
Go to jail?
Who's going to jail? Oh,
Java's
palace is that?
Oh my god! No, it's not. It's not.
No, that's not.
I don't think it is. I think that's
Wait,
that's the original Monopoly thing, but it's still that.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
That's pretty cool. Looks like the Rebel Alliance is gonna be the chance cards. That's actually kind of cool. Overall, it's I mean Star Wars Monopoly, it's kind of a. Oh my god! Yeah, I'm just now looking at it.
Pieces.
Oh, it looks like you get Leia, Lando. Yeah.
Luke, Leia, Wicket, Lando, and the Jabba's palace.
Those are pretty solid pieces. If you like to just collect Star Wars things, this is good. If you're looking for a family game night that's gonna run a little too long, this is also good. And yeah, that kind of closes out the Hasbro figures. All really good. Some surprises. Not a lot of repaints and remolds like we usually get, where they just kind of like paint the figure and be like, we're done with it now. So I'd say it was pretty good. They all run a little expensive, so I'd save up for them. But it seems pretty worth it. Anyway, back to you, Logan.
We got a lot of stuff talked about today. We've gone for about 2 hours. There's a chance this might get cut in two. So you might have been watching part 1 and part 2. We're going to find it. If you saw part 2, then you know I did it. If you don't see part 2, then
what a trooper for listening all the way through.
If you did, you deserve all the flowers in the world, just like
we love Hera
flowers, like I mentioned earlier. But this is a Hera stand. I'm gonna buy Hera gear. I'm gonna buy me a bunch of Hera memorabilia, and I'm gonna make a Hera shrine.
Might be a little obsessive, but I agree with it. Someone's got to sell the Calicori somewhere, you know.
Exactly. But that's gonna be better. I guess we're gonna just wrap it up here. We've been talking for an insane amount of time. But we're definitely gonna try to do this again. As I mentioned, this is gonna be the new podcast. This is Protocol 13. Right now, you're gonna be able to get it on YouTube. I might explore putting it in other places if I'm able to, but we have to get like a more reliable setup for that. So this is gonna be the cheapest podcast you've ever seen.
We're kind of smuggling it through the airwaves at the moment, you could say.
Yeah. Protocol 13. So we're not gonna do the best, but guys, we're so happy even if you just watch or just listen for a little bit. We appreciate you so much. We're gonna try to keep this up. Try to do at least let's try bi-weekly. If not bi-weekly,
I would say we can make bi-weekly.
Once a month. Yeah. So we're gonna try to make it a bi-weekly thing. Try to do an episode every other week. We got a lot to talk about with Star Wars going forward. Of course, we got Mandalorian still going on. We got 2 episodes left of Mandalorian. Isn't it frightening? New episode comes on tomorrow.
That means the next podcast could actually be a Mandalorian wrap-up.
Yeah, exactly. That's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
But just look forward to that. We're gonna be looking forward to it for certain.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be talking about so much. Of course, we got Jedi Survivor coming out. We didn't get to touch on that too much, but we're gonna be talking about it more as we go into the future. And stay tuned to the channel because I'm gonna more than likely do some gameplay videos on it as well. So big exciting things. Logan, you got anything you want to plug? This is your time to promote yourself.
So I do music. You can find me. I'm really bad at posting. But you can find me Logan _and_the_sloths. on Instagram. I'm going to be putting music on Spotify soon, eventually. And this podcast has kind of got me back into the YouTube creating mood, so maybe look out on there. The channel is called House Calrosa. I haven't put anything on there yet, but eventually I will. So that's basically all you can find me. And you can also find me in the toy aisle, I guess. After the long
This
tangent.
in your local toy aisle.
Yeah, any local toy aisle, you'll find me.
But guys, it's been wonderful. It's been good to have you here. This is his first
course.
official thing on the channel. You might have seen his name in some old Battlefront videos. Which, by the way, before I close this, I was actually going through watching some of my older content and watching like some of the old Battlefront 2 gameplay videos used to do. And it's, my God, it was like memories. We gotta play Battlefront 2.
We gotta.
Well,
we'll find a day to play it again.
Yes. But maybe we'll do that for the channel too. You never know, guys.
Maybe.
Keep it locked to the Marauders Guild because we're doing stuff. We're doing stuff again. I'm active. Logan's active again. The channel is coming back to life, but it's gonna rely on all of you guys because you guys that have stayed through all those crazy hiatus I took where I was gone for 8 months at a time. You guys stuck through. You're still watching. You're still commenting. You're still enjoying those alternate histories been uploaded, but don't fret because those are still coming. Do not worry. But it's so great to be back and doing content again. Can't wait to keep bringing it on to you guys. So with that all being said, we're going to wrap it up here. If you enjoyed this particular video, be sure to hit that like button and then subscribe as well to get notified about every upload. I'm asking you to ring that bell too. You don't want to miss a single thing. With that being said, as always, may the force of others be with you.